Boelter Jones, Pro Football Hall of Famer, top 100.
Tyler Lockett from the Seattle Seahawks.
DK Metcalf from
Today Burleson. You're watching NorbCam.
NorbCam.
You're watching NorbCam.
What's up, everybody? This is NorbCam. You are watching NorbCam, and this is another edition of Ask Norb, where I answer your email questions that you sent to me, and whatever question you have, I'm going to answer it. So I apologize, I've been delayed in getting to these. Some of you sent some messages quite a while ago, and I'm finally getting around to answering all of you who sent me an Ask Norb email. So if you want to send one for an upcoming Ask Norb show, please feel free to do so. Just send me an email at norb@norbcam.com. Put Ask Norb in the subject line, and I will answer it in the next show. So I've got a bunch of emails to get to, so I'm looking forward to jumping into these questions and seeing what kind of crazy stuff you ask about and see what crazier answers I come up with. So before I get into this, though, I would love it if you guys would hit that like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and that notification bell, because it is a huge help for me, as we're all of us YouTubers out there trying to get our stuff going. It helps us out immensely. So, real quick, before I jump in, this is the official start of training camp today. Right now, over at the VMAC, just a few minutes over in that direction, an audience-less VMAC training camp, but mostly today is being spent with getting the players tested for COVID-19. Hopefully nobody comes out positive in that test. And then in a few days, they'll start doing some actual football. So all the rookies have been signed, so they're going to be here and doing their thing. And then we'll just kind of keep you updated with whatever news breaks during this time of the unofficial start of the 2020 season. So many things changing. A lot more players opting out of the 2020 season. We'll see how that continues to go. About a week left before players have about a week to decide if they're going to be participating in the 2020 season. So we'll see. Some bigger names have started to pop up on the grid, but no real huge names yet, other than Chance Warmack for the Seahawks, offensive lineman who we picked up over the offseason. Never got a chance to even put on the uniform. He's taken off the 2020 season and will be back hopefully in 2021 when all this blows over, hopefully. All right, let's get into this, shall we? All right. It is Ask Norb session time. Can't wait to answer these questions. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you guys are ready, let's do this.
Ask Norb.
All right. Email question number 1 from IQ Savage. Hey, Norb, I started to watch you in 2015. Thank you very much. And my question is, what's your favorite place in Seattle? Ooh, that's a tough one because Seattle is full of amazing places to visit, but I would have to say my favorite place, of course, is CenturyLink Field right there in the heart of SoDo. Always my favorite place to go downtown to see. But if you were to come down and visit Seattle and you only had one day to do it, I'd say you've got to see the waterfront, especially on a beautiful summer evening or a summer day. It's awesome just walk up and down the waterfront. Some great shops, some great food, great views. You can hop on a ferry if you want. And so I would say you got to go check that out. The Pike Place Market, of course, down in that area as well. But if you don't have time to even just check that out and you just want to get a quick overview of the entire city, go ride the Duck. Take the Ride the Duck tour because that'll take you around the whole city by land and by water and kind of get a whole overview of what this city is all about. So that's, I would say, what I would have you do if you need to do a quick one-day visit to Seattle. Next question.
Ask Norb.
All right, from the Sports Nerd. Is your middle name Chrysostomo?
Yes, it is. My middle name is Chrysostomo. Actually, my name is Chrysostomo.
My middle name is Chrysostomo, which is where Chrysostomo got its origin from. So there you go. I might have to put this on a future trivia contest. Next one.
Ask Norb.
From Tom Hessen. Norb, what is your everyday job? Well, it's not that different from what I do for this YouTube channel. I am a filmmaker by trade, and I've got a company called Quantum Productions. We've been in business since 1996, but I've been doing videos since even before then. That was just when my company that I run now has been in business. So some 24 years we've been doing this with my business partner, Mike Lorraine, a.k.a. 80s Broncos fans. And we've done everything from films to a movie and commercials, marketing videos, all kinds of stuff. I compose music, make jingles. It's fun. So it's very different. Every day is a different kind of work. And this, what I do for YouTube, is just a kind of an offset of that. So yes, that is what I am. I am a filmmaker by trade. Next question.
Ask Norb.
All right, from Zoe. Oh, Zoe, what's up? Where did you get the name Chrysostom? We think we just answered that one, my middle name. And can I be on your Kahoot show? Well, Zoe, I think we've got to make that happen. Because I think the female audience on my channel is probably like 0.1% or something like that. We need to have more female representation. So, Zoe, let's email me again and we'll get you on a show in the near future. All right? Sounds good. Let's do it.
Ask Norb.
From Mason Schaefer, they got cut off there. I think, what was your favorite Seahawks game in the 2019 NFL season? There's a lot of good ones. It's hard to get to say one. I'd have to say if it was just one, I'd say that 49ers game where we beat the 49ers, handed them their first loss in the in 2019, that overtime game down in San Francisco. But man, we had so many good ones this year. The overtime game at home against the Buccaneers, the home game against the 49ers where we lost. But man, what a great game that was, even though it wasn't the outcome we wanted. To come down to a game where it was like the last few seconds down to last 3 inches, beast mode return. I mean, that was such a great game. I got to be up at the 12 flag platform at the start of that game with my dad. So awesome. Blake Morissette. When are you going to do your music video? He says in the super chat. That comes out the week before the first regular season game. So I'm just starting to work on it now. Actually, I lied. I haven't started working on it yet. Been procrastinating, but I got to get to work. So I've got a lot of stuff to work on. Music to write, songs to lyrics to come up with. It's a lot. I got to get going. It's going to be very busy. Next question.
Ask Norb.
What do you think the Mariners' record will be this season, and what records will you give versus NFL West teams? Seriously, in a shortened season as it is, the Mariners, he's been so bad, it's hard to even pay too much attention to it. I'm not even to speculate. I haven't watched a game yet, even though this MLB season has already begun. I'll take a few peeks. I want to see how the cardboard cutout people look like in the stands. But I don't know. If we don't finish last, I'll be surprised. So if we finish third, I'll be like, "Way, we finished better than last." That's about all I can hope for at this point. Whatever that record will be in this 60 games, we've already gotten beaten by the Astros. It's not looking good. It's been a long time. Same result though. Same old Mariners. That'll change hopefully in a few years. Next question.
Ask Norb.
From Zoe again. Hey, Norb, also, do you think it's creepy that a 10-year-old is watching and chatting because my mom does? No, I think it's great. Like I said, I have very few female audiences watching this. Elena, of course, I appreciate you being in here. So there are, of course, the few special exceptions. Elena, and we've got a few others in here who also... the non-male audiences. But since you asked, do I think it's creepy? No, I don't think it's creepy at all. I think it's great. I think it's awesome that not only from a female standpoint, but at the age of 10 years old, to be interested in the Seahawks as passionately as you do, I think it's fantastic. And the fact that you decide to watch on my channel to get your Seahawks news and entertainment, I think it's great. Keep doing what you're doing. And like I said, we'll get you on a future show. All right?
Ask Norb.
From Jeremy Goebel says, "Hey NorbCam, I'm Cincinnati Bengals fan, but this might be off topic since the NHL is coming to Seattle. Release the Kraken! Are you going to watch or go to the arena game in the future?" Yeah, I'm not a hockey fan, period. I think I've been to one Thunderbirds game once in my life, and it's never been a game that I've gotten into. But now that we've got a professional team, I mean, I've got to go check out a game. So yeah, once it opens, the tickets become available, I'm definitely going to check it out, and I'll do a live reaction of the first time watching a Kraken game. I'm looking forward to all the Kraken jokes that are going to come out in the next few weeks. That's going to be too many to count. Say no to crack. It goes on and on and on. There's a question about me being married or something like that. Who asked that question? I don't know. It's in here somewhere. Anyway, but yes, I am married. I've been married for 17 years. 17 years to my lovely wife, Jen. So, yes, there's your answer. Next question.
Ask Norb.
Next question is from Taron Shinoy. What do you think we should have? What do you think we would have to trade to get Jamal Adams? I can tell you exactly what we had to give up to get Jamal Adams. I think it's hilarious about, this is what the benefit of being late in answering some of these questions is. Some of these questions have already been answered. We got Jamal Adams at the low bargain basement price of 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and Bradley McDougald. Whew. So hopefully that's going to be a payoff in this season where, we don't even have him signed to a long-term deal. We're going to have to get him signed to a long-term deal after this. Otherwise, we'll be facing a Clowney type situation that we have going on right now. So hopefully they can get that done sooner rather than later, because a player like that doesn't come along very often. And when you give up the farm and then some, you better make him last. Next question.
Ask Norb.
From ya boy Jersey. What's up, Norb? Who do you predict that's coming to Seattle soon? Antonio Brown, Josh Gordon, Jamal Adams, or Clowney? Again, I can say without hesitation, Jamal Adams, definitely coming. But for the rest of them, I'll say in this order. Here's the order of likeliness, and they certainly all 4 won't come here. But I'm going to say besides Jamal Adams first, I do believe in the bottom of my heart that Jadeveon Clowney is going to end back up here in Seattle. While everybody else is giving up on him, saying that ship has sailed, he's not interested in here, he's chasing the money, I do believe he's going to end up here. And when everybody else is saying, oh my gosh, Jadeveon Clowney came back, what a shocker, I'll be saying, see, I told you so the whole time. Next after that, Josh Gordon. If they take him off the exempt list, I think Josh Gordon, most likely best place scenario for him to come back would be with us. And Antonio Brown, dude's crazy, man. I just don't think he's going to end up with anybody. But we'll see. Like I said, the only place I see him wanting to see him anywhere near the Seahawks would be at the end of the season when we're getting close to making a playoff run. Otherwise, I don't want to see him any sooner than that. Next question.
Ask Norb.
From Rishi Hoskote. Rishi, what's up? He says, what's up, Norb? What's your reaction to Raheem Mostert requesting a trade? Do you think the 49ers will be worse without him? Will it help us by a lot or just a little? Thanks. Well, Rishi, again, the benefit of 2020 hindsight and things changing by the second. Raheem Mostert, if you haven't caught the news, just renegotiated a deal with the 49ers, so he's not going anywhere. He's actually staying put. So we're speculating what things were going to happen without Mostert there, and now he's back. So all that doesn't really apply. So I guess the 49ers will be just the same. Would have been nice to see him gone, but he's back. He's back, ready to do some more damage. Anthony D, the super chat. Hey, Norb, please read my email to you, bud, please. All right, we'll see what we can do here. Got to get through the list. Next question.
Ask Norb.
From Mehul Bahardwaj. Hi, Norb. I have a question for you. Do you think since Patrick Mahomes got a major contract, do you think that will affect more players wanting huge contracts so it will just destroy the team? So do you think players should take less money to make the team better? Okay, a lot of questions to ask there. First of all, the Patrick Mahomes deal was 12 years, $500 gazillion or something like that, highest sports contract to date. Let's just say for right now, you can't apply that to other players because Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. All right, I can even say that he's just a touch above Russell Wilson. I love my Russell Wilson, but he's something else. He's Russell Wilson with a little extra something, and a little younger too. So you don't just give out that kind of contract to any kind of player. And I don't think just because you Like that Prescott didn't get his deal, and I'm sure he was thinking, well, Patrick Mahomes got paid, how come I didn't get mine? So just because one player gets one, it doesn't reset the market for all quarterbacks. I think quarterbacks are a very special situation, very unique, and unless you have very unique talent that is without question above and beyond everybody else, you won't get the above and beyond everybody else contract. Let's see. And I will, for the record, I said this in my video reacting to that this, while he's getting paid tons and tons of money, obviously, this is actually a very team-friendly deal for the Chiefs in that, I mean, he's basically signed his whole career to the Chiefs. And whatever salary cap and contract changes happen in the next few years, he's kind of stuck with what he's got. I mean, of course, if he ends up seeing like this monster contract that other guys are getting and they start to pass him up, which is very possible that could happen, then he would have to hold out or, basically make a stand and say, I don't like that old contract. That $500 million I got, that's just not enough. I need to be making more. So it's very possible that could happen within the time that the 12 years has gone by. So Blake Morset says, do you think Jamal Adams will do better than McDougal? Oh, for sure. I mean, I love me some McDougal too. I was sad to see him go because he was one of our more consistent players in the safety position. But Jamal Adams, man, we're talking about rare, top tier talent, game changing talent, and there have been comparisons made between him and Cam Chancellor, and maybe like a better version of Cam Chancellor in the sense that he can cover better than Cam Chancellor, but can do just as much damage in the run game and blitzing the quarterback. Oh, man, I'm so excited to see this. It's like there was Kenny Easley, and then there was Cam Chancellor, and now we have Jamal Adams. I mean, that's the kind of iconic in that player position that we're talking about. Hopefully this third level, this is going to be like a guy that we signed for a long time and he's here to stay for a while. Next question. Oh, I guess I was finishing up my other emails. I think players should take less money to make the team better. We would all love it for the players just to say, hey, just pay me what you think I'm worth and I'll be happy to play. But, this is a business and no different than all of us wanting to get paid as much as we feel we deserve. And let's face it, with the exception of a few players, a lot of these guys who are in the NFL don't last for more than just a few years. And so they kind of have to get their money while they can because they don't know when the next time is going to be. And we forget about the other guys who aren't the big, famous, top-of-the-line, high-paid guys. There's a lot of guys who don't make a lot, relatively speaking, or who are just sort of names in the league, and they're in for a little bit, and they're gone, and then they're starting to get a new thing. So, yeah, so it's a market world, baby, and you got to get yours, and we'd love it for them to give a hometown discount. But we also know the reality of the situation is not many players are going to do that. So it is what it is. Next question.
Ask Norb.
From Danny Barry. This is a pretty random question, but what do you think of Derek Carr? Derek Carr. Derek Carr, he's a pretty solid quarterback. He actually has pretty good numbers, throws for pretty big yardage. Has actually had a pretty good last couple of seasons. I think the thing about him is just he just hasn't won that big one. He hasn't been able to take the team and get them into that playoff run that is kind of what makes quarterbacks, memorable for, the stats only bring you so far. But if you can't win, you can't get into the postseason and win in the postseason, your stock only can go so high. And unfortunately for him, when they did finally make it to the postseason a few years back, he broke his leg and couldn't play that season out. And since then, just hasn't quite been there for the Raiders. But he's really pretty talented. And, he's a solid middle to upper tier guy. And we'll see. He just needs, like every quarterback, needs some weapons around him. And, with this, who knows, with this whole new team, with a new stadium in Vegas, maybe that's the fresh start he needs to put a run together. But now they got to deal with the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes for 12 years to come. Not looking good for Derek Carr to be able to top the Chiefs if the hype around Mahomes is to be believed. Next question.
Ask Norb.
From IQ Savage. Hey, Norb, I have been watching you since 2005, and my question is to you, what is your top 5 Seahawks of all time so can have players that play now and players that used to play for the Hawks back then? From Shan. Wow, good question. Boy, just off the top of my head, I've got to go with Russell Wilson, of course. Steve Largent, man, got to go old school Steve Largent, first Hall of Famer. Cam Chancellor, like I said, one of my favorites. Then it gets tricky. Beast mode, baby. Beast mode. And then that 5th position. Gosh, it gets really... even when I say Bobby Wagner. But then there's Earl Thomas. There's Richard Sherman. There's Doug Baldwin. So I gave you 4 solids, and I'm going to kind of cheat and just throw a few of those names out there in number 5. Did I already say Kenny Easley? I hope I did. Kenny Easley. If I didn't already. Kenny Easley. Kenny Easley. Next question.
Ask Norb.
Hey, Seahawks Martin. He says, rank these NFL YouTubers from 5th to 1st. Okay. And the list is Tom Grossi, NorbCam, EDP445, Sleeta, and Rombo Sports. He says, by the way, that's a screenshot of the last Ask Norb. Maybe you should report what happened to King 5, and we don't want it to become a cold case. Oh, I know this. This is the Vanessa, the unfinished story about Crisostomo kidnapping Vanessa, which, yes, we still need to finish that one. Rank these YouTubers 1 to 5. Well, of course, I'm a humble guy, all right? So I'm going to put myself, well, let's see. If I just go on just sort of size of channel, from the top, I guess we got to go from, well, we're working away from the bottom. Sleeta, that's my buddy Sleeta, Sports Live in the ATL. I guess I'd put him 5. I'll put myself at number 4 because I'm humble like that. Put Ronbo next at number 3. Tom Grossi, number 2. And EDP445, who's got a couple billion subscribers now, or a couple million subscribers. But man, funny as all get out as long as you can take the language. EDP445 rules the YouTube world as far as sports and football guys are concerned. Dude's funny as heck. There you go. Sleeta, NorbCam, Ronbo, Tom Grossi, EDP445. That's my list right there. Next question.
Ask Norb.
From Sutisum. Soot is to some 700. I read that funny. And hi, Norb. I'm a big fan of you. I'm watching all your videos. Seahawks and Seattle Seahawks go back to the Super Bowl 55 this year. Hey, man. Jamal Adams in the secondary. If Quentin Dunbar can find a way to get off the exempt list and actually play this season, we'll have one of the best secondaries ever. I like our linebacking crew, especially with Brooks coming in here, our first pick in 2020, along with KJ and Bobby. And then, man, if we just get that one extra piece, get that Clowney in there, Ngakwe or Griffin, and we got the money. We cut some guys to get the money. Now we just got to get the player, get that pass rush guy in there, and then have a few of our second-year guys step up. Our defense, which was projected to go 32nd, by the way, worst defense in the league. Come on, PFF. I think we would have a ferocious defense, and our offense is already, I think, much improved. Great talent. Just need guys to stay healthy, and we're going to be right in there for the mix. So, yeah, man, I think we got a good chance of being in Super Bowl 55, baby. Next question.
Ask Norb.
From Chris Delano. It says, hey, Norb, do you think the Seahawks offensive line improved? What do you think on each starting offensive lineman this season, and who do you think will start left guard, Mike Iupati or Phil Haynes? Well, as usual, we've had some changes. I mean, I'm happy for the guys that we've kept. Obviously, Dwayne Brown is kind of the anchor on the left side. After that, it's kind of a little bit all over the map. Mike Iupati returns. He's, to be the left guard, but he's going to be competing with Damian Lewis, our draft pick, who's looks real good on paper. And then our center, since we cut Joey Hunt just yesterday, BJ Finney from the Steelers most likely is going to become our center. So hopefully he can do some good things, develop a quick relationship and chemistry with Russell, since we won't have a lot of time for that. No preseason and a shortened training camp. It's going to be some growing pains, I'm afraid, on the offensive line, because of all the positions we got, everything's pretty solid with just a few relative new guys here, but the offensive line is going to be quite rebuilt from the left tackle only position is the only one that's solid. Everything else moving to left to right. Is going to be a lot of new faces there. Just glad Fetty's gone. No more holding penalties from Jermaine Ifedi. But yeah, it's going to be. I think we have some good players in there, some good depth, but they're all kind of new faces. So it's going to be a kind of wait and see type of look. Hopefully we'll have better pass protection. Run blocking has always been pretty good. We just got to get some good pass pro. Give Russell some time. We'll see what happens. Next question.
Ask Norb.
From Rishi again. Rishi Hoskote says, how are you? If there's another Ask Norb session soon, then my question is, what do you think of the Redskins naming scandal that's going on? Man, doesn't it seem like the Redskins naming scandal seems like such a long time ago? It's among so many controversial things that have happened over the offseason. And right now, the Washington football team is what they are. Isn't it what they're called? The Washington football team or Washington professional football team? It's just Washington football team. Couldn't come up with anything, so they're going to put that off till later. It'll be interesting to see what they come up with as the new name for this. Anytime you get a new name, it's just like the Seattle Kraken, how much heat, a lot of flack and jokes have been flying around with the Kraken. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this, what name they come up with Washington. But when I think about it, in this day and age, and given what's been happening, I mean, there's been debate and discussion about changing that name, and I know that the owner stood pat that he was not going to change the name. But given the today's climate and what's been going on, and the awareness of social justice and racism and all that kind of stuff, if there was ever a time that it was time to re-explore that and have a push to change it, well, this was definitely the year to do it. So I think it was a good move, because if it were me, if I was Native American and I had a feeling about that name being, racist or putting my heritage in a negative light or using a term that I consider to be derogatory, I'd probably be pretty darn happy that that's changing as well. So, I think it was time, and it'll be good. It'll be a good positive change, and for those traditionalists who, are going to not want that name changed, well, just going to have to learn to accept it. It does happen, but it is, I think, the right time for this to have happened. So there we go. Thank you to BH Shooter YT for subscribing. Appreciate that very much. Let's go to the next question.
Ask Norb.
From Nick LaBow. What's up, Nick? Norb, how are you so awesome? Well, it's just some questions are just too hard to answer. Thank you. I'm glad you think I'm awesome. I just doing my best here, man. Just having fun, living the Seahawks fan life, trying to do right by my kids and by you guys. So I appreciate your guys' support, because without you, none of this happens. So I'd be like doing this video and nobody would be watching, and that'd be no fun. So I'm glad you guys are watching. So thank you. I'm glad you think I'm awesome. You're awesome too, bro. Very smart fan out there, man. We'll have you on the show, I know, again pretty soon. Next question.
Ask Norb.
From Saitama's Fist 2002. The true identity of the individual behind this account is to be kept anonymous. Okay, I already know what this is. Well, here's my question. When did you start using hair gel? Because your hair always looks like it's covered in decades of Dove and Nutrice products. No offense intended, but to be honest, it looks greasier than my car's tires. Dang. From a Samsung Galaxy user. Okay, that explains it. I already know who this is. If you guys haven't figured it out, if you've been watching my videos enough, you probably have a good idea who this is. We've addressed this question. First of all, I am a Filipino man with really thick hair. And I don't mean thick like it's not thinning in certain places, but of course, we all have a little bit of that, but the individual strands are actually really thick. If you take one out, let's actually take one out. Dare I take one out? You won't even see it. What's the point? Anyway, if you actually take one strand out and hold it with just a few, like a centimeter long, it is so thick and so hard and so sharp, you can like poke somebody's eye out with it. I mean, it is like a piece of barbed wire shard. So because of that, when this hair comes out after being washed and gets dry, it doesn't get long. It just becomes big. It's like a big Brillo pad. And it's thick, it's harsh, it's coarse. That's where it became before I got my haircut. I'm seriously, I could like scrub a bathtub clean with it. It's so coarse and gritty. So yes, I use the gel. I have never used Dove or Nutri's products. I actually just use a little squirt of LA Looks. Works well for me. Work that in there with some wet hair, and then you get this masterpiece of a hairdo going on right here, baby. So yeah, that's how it all works. Greasier than your car's tires. Come on now. Your tires shouldn't be greasy in the first place, man. What's wrong with you?
Ask Norb.
All right, from Dominic Clemens. Do you think we will have football for the 2021 season? Well, it is moving forward. We don't have a preseason, but the regular season is, at this point, supposedly starting on time. But I don't know. I'm not confident that it's going to last and that we're not going to have some truncated version. I mean, after seeing what's been going on in baseball with games being postponed because of players catching the virus, I'm just thinking of all the games, man, with if baseball, where you have as much space between players as you'd expect to, football is the opposite. You got guys right up on each other, piles of bodies on top of each other after every play. And I'm just concerned that once the games actually get going and they get rolling with the season, and if this thing starts to spread and people start catching it to a point where there's a major safety thing, I could see them completely just calling it off. So that's what I'm afraid is going to happen, because I just don't see how they can control it. But we'll see. I'm not confident that there's going to be fans in the stands. We've already seen stands being canceled entirely. Philadelphia, New York. Seattle has not had any official word on what they're going to do regarding crowds. I can't see it. I just can't see how you make it safe enough. But maybe they'll try. Maybe they'll say, look, we'll put a quarter of you in there, which means about 16,000 of you in the stands. We'll spread you out, put as much space between you. You got to wear a mask, and I don't know how you're going to do that when you have people eating food, stuffing their face the entire game, drinking beer. I mean, how are you gonna do that and enforce masks? Because you can't be drinking beer and wearing a mask and stuffing your face with peanuts and popcorn and hot dogs when you have a mask on. So no one's really going to have a mask on the entire time, even if you force them to wear a mask. And the people who don't like to wear masks are probably going to take them off anyway. It's just sounds good. I just don't see how it's going to be enforced. And if this thing just starts to spread, it's just going to spread like wildfire. So not optimistic, but I'm still going to keep my fingers crossed, and I'll brave it up to the point where they just say you can't come in. So we'll see what happens.
Ask Norb.
Question. Kegels Bagels. Hello, Norb. I have a couple of questions for you. First, regarding a point that Chrysosimo brought up in the How to Be a 49er fan video. Okay, would you rather the Seahawks go 0-16 for 10 straight seasons and then win a Super Bowl in the 11th year, basically suck and win, as Chrysosimo said, suck and win, or make the playoffs every year for 10 years only to fall short of a Super Bowl? I'll answer that first question. I would rather take the latter, which is basically what we've been doing. We've made the playoffs and come short pretty much every single year with the exception of 2017, ever since Russell Wilson joined the team in 2012, and we've only missed the playoffs twice since 2010, a decade. 10 years is a long time to wait to only have one good season. And as I said, I believe I made this argument before, that while winning a Super Bowl is great, believe me, it's awesome. There's also other games that make up the memories and the joy of watching your team year in, year out. I mean, I've had so many momentous occasions last year beating the 49ers on the road and almost beating them at home. Those memories and the fact that we were playing for something every year made those years exciting. And even in 2017, when we didn't make it, it came down to like the last game. Imagine being out of the playoff hunt 4 games into the season, 5 games into the season. I mean, you wouldn't want to watch your team. And who wants to go having an irrelevant team for 10 straight years? Not worth it. It's even if you don't win it all, because not everyone's going to win it all. There's going to be one team that wins it all. It's not everything. It really isn't everything. Winning the Super Bowl is not everything, because as great as 2013 was and winning the Super Bowl was, 2014 for us was one of the greatest years we've ever had. And yeah, it ended in the worst possible way. But getting to the Super Bowl, winning the NFC Championship game to get there in the way that we did, those will go down as some of the greatest games, greatest memories I've ever had. And it wasn't a year that we didn't win the Super Bowl. So it's about the journey to get there. And if every year the journey is exciting and compelling and makes you want to be there every year, rooting for your team, knowing you're this close and every game is just like heart pounding because you're into it. That's what being a fan's about. Not just the number of championships you have or Super Bowls. It's about the journey, baby. And even those games that aren't that significant, some of those wins are just as memorable as the ones that are huge playoff wins. Next question.
Ask Norb.
From Haley Buis. Do you think the Seahawks will make the playoffs this year? Well, I addressed this, I think, in an earlier question. Absolutely, I think they can make the playoffs this year. I expect it to be a tight race in the NFC West. Of course, the Seahawks and the 49ers, and I think the Cardinals, and for that matter, the Rams, who are always a pain in the rump. I think it's going to be a tight race. I don't think there's going to be a runaway team this year. And I really hope we get the NFC West title back this year. That would be a good goal to have. It's a good place to start because you can't have the home playoff games unless you win your division, and you can't win. Seattle's proven that we can't win the big one and get to the Super Bowl without having that home field advantage. So home field advantage is everything. So hopefully we get all that. And I believe we can do it. I believe we have the tools. A lot of it is just health related, and all the more now this year. I mean, you had to deal with injury fears, and now we got to deal with COVID fears to mix amongst everything else. So it's going to be a really weird season for sure, and probably a really rough start to all the teams, given the way that they have such lack of games to prepare for. No preseason, limited training camp, and just go right into playing ball. It's going to be fun, actually, to watch a lot of the craziness out there, especially with these teams with rookie quarterbacks and really huge roster turnovers. Seattle's actually pretty fortunate, other than the offensive line being the most turned over role. You got tight ends who've been there, and veteran players, running back room pretty much the same, receiving area pretty much the same with a couple new faces, but Russell Wilson as a veteran quarterback. Offensively, we definitely have the edge. And even defensively, the key players are there leading the team. So I think we're actually in better shape for a shortened preseason / training camp than a lot of the other teams who've had major roster turnover. Next question.
Ask Norb.
If Pete, from Kevin Getchell, if Pete retires, will they trade Wilson? Pete will retire before Russell Wilson does, I would like to think. And I don't see that being related to Russell Wilson being traded. I don't think they would ever consider trading Russell Wilson. I mean, something major would have to happen to where he's no longer being productive before they decide that he's no longer going to be the quarterback for Seattle. I just don't see that happening. No one's going to outwork Russell Wilson. And yeah, he's not getting any younger. It's hard to believe he's already been playing for just 8th season coming up now. He's 33 years old, if I'm not mistaken, but still got a lot of football ahead. So I hope he's here to stay for the whole entire career.
Ask Norb.
From Jeremy Goebel. Hey, NorbCam, I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan. I think we heard that before. And I have a question. Why the Seahawks are not in the AFC conference, but why team changed to the NFC conference? Let's see. That happened. Actually, we were in the NFC before to start off. When we first came into the league in 1976, it was the NFC that we were in. And then we switched to the AFC for all those years from like 77 or 78 all the way to 2002. And then we switched back over to the NFC. I remember some of that was realignment because of the addition of teams, and so they had to kind of change. The alignment wasn't quite the same, so some teams had to kind of move around a bit. And so that's how I know we ended up in the NFC. And I think we actually there was a bit of a choice by the team to stay in the AFC or move to the NFC. I can't remember if it was entirely within our power to decide so, but I remember at the time, the NFC West looked like it was a lot weaker division than the AFC at the time. So I think it made sense that Seattle had a lot better chance of having a higher chance of victory going back to the NFC. At least I remember feeling like that way at the time in 2002. It's like, well, it's just the Rams and the 49ers and the Cardinals. This could work out pretty good. The Rams were kind of a pain for a while, but it did work out in the long run. But now the NFC West is one of the toughest divisions in all of football. We'll see how it goes in 2020. Next question.
Ask Norb.
From Unbiased Election Projections. Hi Norb, Hawks fan here. Looking at our schedule, there are some games we are looking at. We'll probably drop one to San Francisco, and I bet we'll lose at home to Arizona. And we have some other tough matchups, but one we are sleeping on is at Buffalo. Bills fans are loud, and they quietly had the best defense last year. They added Stephon Diggs to their offense, and to be honest, they'll probably win the AFC East. What do you think of this matchup? I've got Buffalo winning, but it'll be close. UEP Political Geek and Seahawks fan. That's a good question. We've kind of owned them in recent years. We've swept them since Russell Wilson. We haven't played them that much, but I remember we beat them pretty bad away in Russell Wilson's first year, and then I remember we played them at home. That was the year that game where, remember when I think Richard Sherman went to block the kicker and he hit the guy's foot, and there was a lot of controversy. I remember the kicker's wife sending a nasty message to Richard Sherman, kind of a racist, negative message, if I'm not mistaken. But that aside, those were the old Bills, and the Bills have definitely improved since then. How will we do? I haven't gone through my whole 2020 game prediction mode yet, so that will be my official diagnosis of that game. But as far as that one, yes, it will be tough. But I'm going to say that I still feel like Seattle will get this one. It's going to be close, but I think Seattle's going to win it. And I'm just mostly going off of the fact that I'm expecting great things, a lot greater things from Seattle this year. With our, if most people stay healthy, I'm really excited what our offense is going to be able to do, and the defense for that matter. So, yeah, I think we're going to get a win here. I think we're going to get the win.
Ask Norb.
From Josh Wade, do you think the Hawks are going to sign a cornerback if Dunbar can't play this season? Excellent question. First we got to answer that question. Will Dunbar not play this season? I don't believe he's going to not play this entire season. He is on the commissioner's exempt list. Talked about this in the video yesterday. And I still think that he will probably face some suspensions, but because of the fact that they probably won't try his entire, he won't see a court case. He won't see the inside of a courtroom for probably till next year because of the backlog of all these COVID-19 delayed trials. It's going to be like the Michael Kendricks thing, where Michael Kendricks, he pled guilty, and he was just awaiting his sentencing hearing, and he played a whole season and then some, and still hasn't been sentenced. So with this already backed up, where they're not going to have a verdict on the case, my guess is the NFL will slap some kind of suspension on it, but at some point he'll be able to come back and play while he awaits trial. And so for that, I feel like they won't need to pick up somebody else. Trey Flowers will play in his absence and hold down the fort until he comes back. So that's my hope and prediction for 2020. Next question.
Ask Norb.
From Chris Delano. Hey, Norb, do you think Seattle would get a number 2 corner instead of Dunbar now and a D-line maybe? If so, who do you think? Well, I just talked about that. I don't think we're going to get another corner. And as far as D-line is concerned, like I said, we're only one player away from having a very solid defense, and we got to get one of these pass rushers. We got to get Clowney or Griffin or Ngakwe. They're still up for play, and we still got some money to throw out there. So I'm going to stick to my guns and say that we're going to get Clowney back. As much as nobody believes that's the case, I think he will be back. Mark my words.
Ask Norb.
From Nick again, Nick LaBow. Norb, what is your profession outside of YouTube? Also, what hobbies do you enjoy besides football? Well, I already talked about my profession. As I said, I'm a filmmaker with Quantum Productions. Been doing it for 24 years. Very fun to be doing everything from music to commercials to videos and films. And of course, what I do here for YouTube and the Seahawks. What hobbies do I enjoy besides football? Well, my kids keep me mostly busy the rest of the time. Both my daughters play volleyball. They're doing a lot of beach volleyball right now since that's the only volleyball that's happening around the world. So I'm enjoying watching that. I like to play, actually, and it's been a few months myself because our own adult league got canceled, so I miss playing. But I do like to play myself. So I like to watch it. I like to play it. And so, yeah, volleyball is definitely one of my favorite pastimes. I also like to sing, which I know you guys know that also. I had been in some bands, but the band thing is a little bit too much of a commitment. So that's why I do these music videos on YouTube. I get my music fix in that way. But I've always loved photography. I mostly do video. I mess around with photography, but just most recently went up to the mountains, and thanks to the comet as well as this opportunity for the really clear skies, I took my stab at some astrophotography, some long exposure shots of the stars, and got some beautiful shots of the Milky Way and some strange anomalies in the screen that were some kind of UFO. I don't know. Couldn't figure out what it was. Moved like a satellite, but it got bright, got dim, and then they moved 2 different directions. It was weird. Anyway, so yeah, so I enjoy gotten into doing that, and yeah. So those are just a few of the things I like to do in my spare time. Next question.
Ask Norb.
I think that is it. I'm gonna check to see if any of you guys sent anything in the last few moments during this show. But that is it for the recent question. Oh, I guess we have a few. We got a few, you guys. Well, it's wow, actually a lot. There's a lot of questions. You guys have been busy. Oh my goodness. Well, let's see. I guess should I bang through them? Should we bang through these? Why not? Let's do a few more. Where are we here? Starting right here. Okay. Let's give it a try. On the spot, fresh emails coming in right now.
Ask Norb.
Okay, from Manny Foldy. Hey, when is the regular season music video? Please respond. The prediction video will come out, as I said before, first week before the first regular season game. So when is that? September is like the middle of second week of September. So I got about a little over a month to get this thing done. So that's the plan.
Ask Norb.
Okay, that's a glitch. Let's get the next one here. From First Anthony. I think it's, hey buddy, if you decided to have me sing in your 2020 Seahawks prediction music video, hopefully you'll say yes. How do you want me to sing my vocals in your vid? Ask me to sing in your video, and I'll definitely sing my butt off for you, buddy. But I would love to sing the songs I suggested. So yes, please let this be my 22nd birthday present this September, my man. And holy tamale, I'm going to be 22 years old, man. Time does really fly fast. Haha, Anthony D. Okay, of course, my regular buddy, Anthony D. I'm still trying to figure that out. I got to pick out my songs and everything like that. As we know, it's challenging enough for me to get these vocal things together on my own, but we'll see. I got you in last year, and I know you wanted a little cameo, and you got it. So we will see what we can do, man. We'll see what I can do. Next question.
Ask Norb.
From Cristalino. Do you like the Adams trade? I think we made the right move. We suck in the first round. Also, after that, do you think we will get someone else like Clowney or another pass rusher as well? I loved it. Hit me at first like we gave up too much, but then the more I thought about it, I thought, yeah, it's hard to miss an opportunity like this to get a player like Jamal Adams. I like it. I do like it. And we'll find another way to build up our draft capital again, but this is a game-changing guy. Like I said, you got Easley, Chancellor, Adams. It's that kind of iconic player. And yes, I do believe Clowney is coming back. Next question.
Ask Norb.
From Sharkeologist. Hi, Norb. Big fan since 2015. Anyway, my question for you is, do we win the NFC West this upcoming year, and do we sign a D-line pass rusher? Yes. I am hopeful and positive in a tight race we will get the NFC West, and yes, I do believe we are going to get a D-line pass rusher named Jadeveon Clowney. I've said it already. It's going to happen.
Ask Norb.
What do you think, from 12th Man RC and Hobbies, what do you think our biggest weakness is going into the 2020 season? Appreciate all the content, man. Keep it up. Biggest weakness. Well, I would probably say it's the typical place that we've had our weaknesses. The defensive line / pass rush, if we don't get some people in there or don't get our guys to step up, it's hard to win playoff games without a pass rush, period. And on the flip side of that, biggest weakness, one, would be injuries, because that was our biggest weakness last year. And secondly, would just be offensive line cohesiveness. We got to have these guys gelling. These new faces got to gel quick. We can't afford to have a slow start with miscommunication problems and missed assignments and just not being on the right page. You got to get these guys on the same page quickly so that we can roll with it right off the bat. Next question.
Ask Norb.
From Rishi Hoskote again. Hey, Norb, what was your favorite Rivals video to film? Please answer this. Rishi. Ooh, the Rivals videos. There's so many that we've done. All of them fun and special. I would probably say the one that really stands out, and it wasn't the most fun, it was just probably the most rewarding, because anytime you work your butt off and suffer, the more it's enjoyable it is. But the one against the Arizona Cardinals fan, my buddy Bob Simmons, aka Dino, the one where he had the food fight battle in front of our houses with the slow-mo, that was one of the first ones we ever did. And I remember I brought in my friend who had a red Epic camera, and I wanted to do some really cool slow-mo stuff, and he made it happen. And it was so hot that day. It was like high 80s, bordering a 90s, shooting it out in the front for like a couple of hours, and the conditions were rough. It was, and then really I think the biggest pain was throwing all those eggs, because we threw a lot of eggs that day, and because it was so hot, the road just baked like fried eggs immediately onto the asphalt, and it was so baked on there. There's no easy way to get it off. So it took me hours with a power washer, just going, with a power washer, you got this tiny little stream just back and forth. It's like cleaning with a toothbrush, getting all that junk off of there. It took forever, but that's one of my favorite Rival videos of all time, for sure. Next question.
Ask Norb.
From Owen Herring. Norb, which stadium would you love to visit next to watch an away game? Ooh, that's good. I'd probably say right now the intrigue is because we've got a couple of brand new stadiums, and I want to see what the latest and greatest state-of-the-art stadiums are. I'd love to see that LA Rams stadium, see what that looks like, or that one in Vegas. It's close by. I don't have to travel across the country. And man, those things look awesome, and they're super expensive. I want to see what $1 billion building looks like. They both look pretty cool. One of them looks like what's his name from Star Wars, the Las Vegas one. Looks like what's his name? He talks like this, like he's got an AM radio. I'm talking about the main dude. It looks like his helmet. And the LA one, a lot of glass. Looks pretty awesome. Anthony D. Thanks, buddy. Please let this be my birthday present, he says. Anthony D. Repping hard. We'll see what we can do, bro. Let me see. Any more emails left? Let's see.
Ask Norb.
Got a couple more left. From Astute Throne 602. He says, hello, do you kind of like the Jamal Adams, or was it a bad idea? At first I thought it was a bad idea because of what we had to give up. But then the more I thought about it, I've come to really love the idea. In fact, more than love the idea, I'm super thrilled and excited. Can't wait to see what he can do, because I started to watch highlights and read up a little bit more about what he can do, and got me super excited. Comparisons to Cam Chancellor and then some. Pretty awesome.
Ask Norb.
From Danny Barry, are you going to go to some Seattle Kraken games? Go Raiders. What? Yeah, as I said earlier, I plan to go check out a game. Names not being the highlight of our hockey team, the stadium itself. What's that goofy healthy climate arena or whatever it is? They should just call it the Amazon Arena. And then we could say, welcome to the Amazon. But instead, welcome to healthy climate change arena. Oh well, what's in the name anyway? But yeah, I'm not a big hockey fan, so it's not like I'm going to go out and buy season tickets or anything. But I would definitely want to see what it's all about and see if I can get into this Kraken hockey NHL stuff. Maybe we could be lucky, like the Las Vegas team. Didn't they win like the Stanley Cup in their first year out? Wouldn't that be something?
Ask Norb.
From IQ Savage FN. Hey Norb, since we got Jamal Adams, do you think we can sign Clowney for the last time? Yes, Clowney is coming back in 2020. In just a few weeks, he'll return. The prodigal son will return.
Ask Norb.
From 12 Central, John Ursua. Do you think he can Ursua because of the new Ursua man? Very good, John Ursua. I take it 12 Central likes John Ursua. I like John Ursua. I'd love to see him step up and do more good stuff. He barely got an opportunity for whatever reason. And he was a really cool guy because he let me interview him for like 15 minutes and had a great conversation. If you haven't seen that, check out my video from the offseason last year. Really nice guy. And he almost won the game for us against the 49ers last year. If he could have just twisted his body and reached over, we could have won that game. Alas, it put us to the dreaded 1 yard line. Yes, Kylo Ren. Thank you, Rishi. Kylo Ren is what I meant to say. My helmet looks a lot like the Las Vegas Arena Stadium. Yes, John Ursua. We'll see if he can quietly make his way up to the higher depth chart of the receiving corps. He's got a lot of competition. We'll see.
Ask Norb.
From Owen. Which Seahawks season was very disappointing to you? Me, the 2017 season. Of course, the 2017 season was disappointing because we didn't make the playoffs. But which one would be the most disappointing? It would be real easy to say the 2014 season, because in 2014, of course, we all know what happened there. I think that one is that what could have been. That would have been the greatest season of all time. It would have been the greatest Super Bowl victory, probably. And one of the greatest Super Bowl wins of all time, if we could have won that one. The Jermaine Kearse catch, where the ball bounced off every part of his body to make the catch to bring it down to the 5 yard line on a miracle play, would have been the Kearse catch, would have been the Kearse, the Tom Brady, all the storylines I think that would have come from that game going a whole different way, and the impact of the Seahawks from that year forward would have completely changed the entire trajectory of what happened after that point. And we've still done fairly well, given that they've been competitive every season, but it would have changed so much. And even with the relation to the Patriots, if we had won that game, Tom Brady and the Patriots would have had 3 Super Bowls. Russell Wilson and the Seahawks would have had 2 back-to-back. I mean, that changes everything, and it changes everything in 2015 and sets us up to go for a 3-fer. So I guess I would have to say that was the most disappointing because it was so much that was right there at our fingertips that could have gone the other way. All right, it is 3:47. I've been going at it for about an hour. This is going to be the last question, and whatever else I didn't answer, I will answer on the next show. But please remember to, if you have a question you'd like for me to answer on the air live, send me an email, norb@norbcam.com, with Ask Norb in the subject line. Here is the last Ask Norb question. Here we go.
Ask Norb.
From Danny Berry. If the Seattle gets a basketball team back, will you go to some games? Oh, for sure. For sure, I would definitely go to some games. I used to go to a few back in the day. Not a whole ton, but I did go to some. But man, back in the early to mid '90s, the Sonics, that was it, man. That was the game, especially the early '90s when they started getting hot because football was terrible. Mariners weren't good till '95, but they finally won a playoff game. So yeah, Sonics has definitely special place during the '90s, and of course the championship run of the '79 season. You got to go all the way back to '79. So that's it. I'm going to stop right there because I could probably go on. I think there's a few more of your emails, but I'm going to save it for next time. So got to leave something special for the next Ask Norb. So again, if you have a question you'd like me to ask, football or whatever, just send me an email right there to that address, norb@norbcam.com, and put the subject line Ask Norb and put your question, and I will happily answer it on the air. All right, thank you guys for watching this episode of Ask Norb. I appreciate you guys spending an hour or so of your time with me. And so for everybody who sent questions in, thank you so much. I'm glad I was able to get to them. For everybody who was in the chat, and especially the supporters of the Super Chat, always appreciate the love, always appreciate the support. So again, if you haven't already, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell because it's always a huge help in what we do here on social media. So I appreciate it. Love you guys. Talk to you guys all later. Oh, and I got to remind you again, too, about the Fan to Fan Network. Have you seen my videos about the Fan to Fan Network? FTFN on social media, but fantofannetwork.com. If you haven't seen it yet, it's a part of a network of social influencers, sports fans like myself from different teams, all coming together on our own website, our own network, working together to get news content out there. Here's a quick little highlight of who we are.
Hey guys, Joseph Robert here.
Tighten upload.
Area of the Spotlight Raiders Talk Mike, the AZ Sports Fan.
Joseph the 2.0.
Derek Larger.
Joe Newbo.
Ugly Durong.
It's your boy Baroshford.
NorbCam coming at you, and you're watching the
Fan to Fan Network.
The voice that sports fans deserve.
There you go. That is the Fan to Fan Network. Check it out at fantofannetwork.com, and you'll see my stuff there, videos, news stories, and a bunch of other great guys who really know their stuff and are huge fans of their teams as well. So hope you check it out, and thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Go Hawks.